Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. This is Clinical Reasoning series. So today we have an interesting case for discussion. Before I start the discussion, please note this is only for academic purposes and cannot be directly related to the patient care. So this is the case scenario. A 55-year-old female who is a housewife and has never smoked presents with the complaints of weight loss and persistent cough. On examination, you notice clubbing. CT chest is suggestive of bronchogenic carcinoma. So here you can see that they are already given the diagnosis, which is bronchogenic carcinoma. Usually bronchogenic carcinoma for the competitive exam is usually asked as one-liners, but because of the recent pattern of the questions, which is to ask the clinical scenario type questions, I have just framed it as a clinical scenario, giving you an approach to answer these type of questions in future. Now if you look at the case scenario, it is given female, never smoke. Why this history of smoking is very important? Because smoking is the most important risk factor for development of bronchogenic carcinoma. You all know that. So that is why whether the patient with bronchogenic carcinoma smoking or not is very important. Second, we are going to look at some aspects of this bronchogenic carcinoma where there is an association with some types of bronchogenic carcinoma, and some types of bronchogenic carcinoma do not have an association with smoking. That's what we are going to discuss. So this particular female has never smoked till this time. Okay, right. You also notice one more very important finding, which is clubbing. This also helps in differentiating between the different types of bronchogenic carcinoma, which is what is the actual question we are going to discuss about. So with this scenario, let us look at the options which are given in the question. The question is, what could be the likely diagnosis? Remember, there were two things: patient has not smoked, female. Third is presence of clubbing. So what could be the likely diagnosis? When I put this question in the Telegram group, most of you have answered it very correctly. The answer is adenocarcinoma. What are the reasons I am saying that it is adenocarcinoma? Because adenocarcinoma is a common type of cancer which occurs in non-smokers. Second, adenocarcinoma is the common type of cancer which occurs in females. Third, adenocarcinoma comes under the category of non-small cell carcinoma, which I am going to discuss, which is associated with clubbing. Okay, please remember, small cell carcinoma is usually not associated with clubbing. Our patient had clubbing. Our patient was also not a smoker. Our patient was a female. So all this puts into the probability of adenocarcinoma as the most likely subtype of bronchogenic carcinoma in this case. So now I am going to tell you a little bit about this bronchogenic carcinoma, and I will focus on the one-liners and some important points related to this topic. Please note that bronchogenic carcinoma is a leading cause of death due to malignancy. This is in both males as well as in females. Very important to note, it is the leading cause of death due to malignancies. And please remember, bronchogenic carcinoma is the most common type of cancer in males, not in females but in males. But whether it's a male or a female, cause of death due to malignancy is always bronchogenic carcinoma. That should be very clearly remembered. Now, what is the risk factor? You all know that the most important risk factor is smoking. There are other risk factors as well, but from the exam point of view, you need to remember occupational exposure. What is that occupational exposure? Yes, it is asbestos exposure. Remember, asbestos exposure is also associated with mesothelioma in addition to bronchogenic carcinoma, and that's also a question often asked in your exams. Now, when we talk about the types of bronchogenic carcinoma, it is broadly divided into two categories: small cell carcinoma and the non-small cell carcinoma. This is based on the pathological appearance. Now, if you look at the varieties of non-small cell carcinoma, it can be divided into three varieties: squamous cell, adenocarcinoma, and the large cell carcinoma. Out of this, there are so many MCQs which are possible. Please remember that adenocarcinoma is the overall most common type of bronchogenic carcinoma when we look at the worldwide scenario. However, in India, small cell carcinoma is the most common variety. This by itself is a one-liner often asked in your exams. The second question to be remembered is adenocarcinoma is the most common type of carcinoma, bronchogenic carcinoma, encountered in females, and adenocarcinoma is the one which is commonly noted in non-smokers, whereas all other types of bronchogenic carcinoma have a common association of smoking. Okay, right. Next is Regarding the squamous cell carcinoma, one more important point to be noted is squamous cell carcinoma is associated with cavity formation inside the lung, and this one particular point is often asked in so many of the previous exams, so that should be noted. Regarding small cell carcinoma, some of the one-liners to be noted are: it has got the strongest association with smoking. It has got the strongest association with smoking. This should be remembered. Second point to be remembered is small cell carcinoma of the lung is highly radiosensitive as well as responds to chemotherapeutic medications. So that is why the primary treatment modality for small cell carcinoma is radiotherapy along with chemotherapy, whereas for the non-small cell carcinoma the treatment is usually surgery. But please remember, small cell carcinoma has got the worst prognosis among all types of bronchogenic carcinoma because it has spread far and wide at the time of presentation itself, and it is associated with lot of other manifestations as well, which we are subsequently going to discuss. So small cell carcinoma has got the worst prognosis, and this is also an MCQ question often asked in your exams. Moving on to this particular section, wherein they can ask you about the location of the subtypes of bronchogenic carcinoma. Please remember, we divide them into two varieties. One is the central location or the hilar location. The second one is the peripheral location. Okay, right. Now when we talk about the central or the hilar location, remember that squamous cell carcinoma and small cell carcinoma of the lung are predominantly central in location, whereas adenocarcinoma and large cell carcinoma of the lungs are predominantly peripheral location. Okay, this should be noted and can be asked as one-liners in your exam. When we talk about the features of bronchogenic carcinoma, please remember it can present with any of the manifestations: cough, weight loss, dyspnea, hemoptysis and clubbing. Of this, the most common presenting feature is of course cough. Okay, this is the most common presenting feature. Okay, right, because some of the other references or guidebooks can mention weight loss as the common feature. No, all the standard textbooks uniformly say that cough is the most common presenting feature. Remember, it can be associated with hemoptysis, but the point I want to emphasize is that which is the most common condition associated with hemoptysis in India. If that is the question, please answer as tuberculosis. Okay, most common disorder associated with hemoptysis is tuberculosis rather than bronchogenic carcinoma in Indian scenario. Right, and clubbing is one of our differentiating points in the question itself. I mentioned there itself. Clubbing is seen in non-small cell cancers like squamous cell carcinoma, adenocarcinoma and the large cell carcinoma. It is not a feature of small cell carcinoma. That should be remembered. Right. There are some other important associations with this bronchogenic carcinoma which you need to remember. One is called as this Pancoast tumor. Pancoast tumor actually refers to the tumor which is localized to the apex of the lung. Okay, which is starting or not localized, but it is present in the apex of the lung. Now histologically it is found to be squamous cell carcinoma, and an important question which they ask in the exams is association of this Pancoast tumor is it is related to the sympathetic chain, so it is associated with one syndrome. What is that syndrome? Yes, it is Horner syndrome, which is characterized by ptosis, anhidrosis and meiosis. That association is seen with Pancoast tumor. Please remember, histologically most cases of Pancoast tumor is squamous cell carcinoma. The next one is SVC syndrome. It's rather a very important condition which actually presents as an emergency. The patient presents to the casualty, okay, patient presents to the emergency department, okay, with the complaints of swelling around the face and neck region. Along with that, you will see dilated neck veins and veins in the front of the chest. Okay, so what is this SVC syndrome? SVC syndrome is basically obstruction. Okay, please remember the key word, it is obstruction to the outflow of the blood from the superior vena cava. So basically something like a mass which causes obstruction of blood flowing out from the SVC is what we call it as a SVC syndrome. Please remember there are some important one-liners The most common cause of SVC syndrome is obstruction due to malignancy. Please remember, malignancy should always be suspected in a patient presenting with SVC syndrome. And what is the most common malignancy? Yes, that is the topic which we are discussing, which is bronchogenic carcinoma. And in the bronchogenic carcinoma, which is the commonest subtype which can present with SVC syndrome? If that is a question, please answer as small cell carcinoma. Okay, that subtype commonly presents with SVC syndrome. Other than bronchogenic carcinoma, the second common type of malignancy which can present with SVC syndrome is lymphoma. This also should be remembered. So these are two important presentations of bronchogenic carcinoma from the exam point of view you need to know about. The last part of the discussion is very important regarding the paraneoplastic manifestations of bronchogenic carcinoma. It is seen with small cell carcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma. More commonly, it is seen with small cell carcinoma of the lung. So what are the paraneoplastic syndromes? It is due to production of, one is ACTH, which is what we call it as a ectopic ACTH production. Okay, so normally ACTH, okay, is secreted from the pituitary, but here it is from the lung region in the form of carcinoma. So that's what we call ectopic ACTH production. And what is the consequence of this? It is going to be associated with features of Cushing syndrome. Okay, right. This second one is production of ADH, antidiuretic hormone. So what is the consequence of this? It is going to result in syndrome of inappropriate antidiuretic hormone secretion, or SIADH. Next is regarding the small cell carcinoma of the lung. Small cell carcinoma of the lung is associated production of parathyroid hormone or parathyroid hormone related peptide, which can be associated with what problem? Yes, what is that metabolic problem? It is hypercalcemia. Okay, right. And from the exam point of view, this is one of the favorite questions often asked as one-liners. Paraneoplastic associations of bronchogenic carcinoma. Remember, it is more common with small cell carcinoma of the lung. So that completes our discussion regarding the case of bronchogenic carcinoma, and in our case the diagnosis was adenocarcinoma. I have explained to you about approach to the diagnosis based on the clinical features, and I have also discussed the related one-liners. So I hope that you like this video. Please share with your friends and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and please press the bell icon so that you get notified of the videos as and when they are posted. I will see you soon in the next video. Thank you and have a good day.